There's a great gun design that never seems to go away, and it was designed by the late legendary John Browning. It was made to save lives without liability concerns. It's like a great boxer, well-timed with a devastating blow. The Colt 1911 45. I'm WWII, and welcome to my gun kingdom. If there's just one thing I would like you to take with you after watching this video, and that is to be honest with yourself. And in this segment, I'm going to be talking about some things that are very important for you to consider. So you'll want to stay tuned and watch this. No matter what handgun or what caliber you use for home protection, you're going to have to practice a lot, and it's going to take continued practice, and more so with a handgun than a long gun. Okay, so well, let's say that you want to use a handgun because of your certain situation. Maybe you only have one gun and you prefer to have a handgun that you can conceal carry plus use for home protection. So we want to be honest with ourselves and say, are we going to be able to do the practice that it's going to take to use a handgun, to be accurate with a handgun and be proficient at the same time? So, whether you sign up for defensive shooting classes or anything like that, that's going to help you, okay? And also if you're a hunter, that will actually help you too, because you're used to moving with a gun. So we want to get away from the traditional firing line that we usually see at indoor firing ranges and things like that, and join a club like where I'm at, to where you have like an area, a grassy area or something, to where you can get out and set up some targets and move with the gun and shoot the targets that you'll see coming up in the next segment. But anyway, if you're going to choose a handgun, I would highly recommend the Colt 1911 45, and there's a couple reasons for that. Not only does it have great stopping power, but it also has a lot of features on the gun for safety purposes too. And also the ammunition doesn't usually go outside the house if you're going to use it for a home protection weapon. And every time you fire your gun, you're responsible for where that bullet ends up. Okay. Now here at this gun range here, I have a big mound of dirt that I shoot into. So getting back to this gun design by John Browning, this is probably one of the best designs of all time. It's an iconic handgun. And this one in particular was manufactured in 1918, and that was just at the end of World War I. These guns have had a long track record, and they've been in the military service since 1911 through 1985. The proof is in the pudding. This particular firearm has been employed in 4 major wars: WWI, WWII, Korean and Vietnam War, not to mention a lot of other wars around the world. And today it is still employed by some special ops in the military, and it's very much preferred. When this is my dad's gun, this is his pride and joy, and he always slept with this underneath his pillow. And You know, when he was in the service, he volunteered at the age of 17, and he went in the Army Air Corps, and he was in a B-17 bomber as a waist gunner. And he always had one of these on his side. Now, when he was discharged after the war was over, World War II, he didn't bring his service pistol home with him. He followed the rules, and he left it there. They weren't allowed to bring their service pistols home with them. Some of them did do that. They did sneak them by and brought them home, but he didn't do that. So eventually what happened a few years later after he returned was he found a surplus of them, and he bought this one from the NRA and paid $17.50 for it. Now, at the time this video is being made, this gun is well over $4,000 now. So, you know, that was a heck of an investment. And he got to, you know, relive a lot of the, you know, memories that he had with this service pistol in the Army Air Corps. So, anyway, now I wanted to shoot this at a young age, and he wouldn't let me shoot it until I turned the double digit, which is 10 years old. So on my 10th birthday, we took it out, and we lived on a farm. We took it out, set up some targets, and I got to shoot it. But I never got to shoot it without his supervision. And now shotguns and rifles, I was able to shoot without his supervision, but he always wanted me to be with him when I shot this one. You know, handguns, you know, they can be a little more dangerous than a rifle or a long gun. And reason is because it has such a shorter barrel. And, you know, it's amazing how you can just turn in one direction and that barrel can go real fast in that direction. So longer barrel is a little bit safer. Let's go ahead and go over some of the specs of this gun. So let's go ahead and clear the weapon. Make sure it's empty. Okay, and I like to not only visually inspect to make sure the barrel is clear, but also I like to stick a little finger in there too and see if I can feel anything, okay? All right, and the ammunitions is in the box here. All right, so we're clear here. So while the hammer's back, I'm going to show you the first safety on it. It's a manual safety, and it's right here on this side right here, and you can see it there, and you just flip that up and the gun can't fire. Okay, all right, so that's your manual safety right there. We also have another safety on the gun, and that's this grip safety right here. So what that's for is make sure that your hand is on and firmly on the gun before it will fire. So, you know, in case you would happen to drop the gun too, it would not fire because this was not depressed, all right? And now, as far as cleaning these guns, they're very easy to field strip and clean and put back together. And there's a lot of videos on how to disassemble and assemble the Colt 1911 on YouTube here. So it's very easy to do. And, you know, I've done it, you know, blindfolded. When I was a kid with my dad, we practiced doing it blindfold, so it's that easy. So anyway, on contrary to what you've read or heard about the Colt 1911-45, that it's not accurate, and well, don't believe that, because it's a very accurate pistol. And people that usually write those comments are people that aren't good shooters, okay? It does take a lot of practice, but it is very accurate. As you will see in this upcoming segment, you'll see that it's very accurate. It has very light recoil, and that's another misconception. It's heavy recoil, and it's not. It's very light recoil if you hold the gun properly. So I will also go over how to hold the gun properly to reduce some of that recoil, and you'll be able to follow up with a second shot a lot easier. And also, this has one of the smoothest triggers of any handgun. So it's very easy to shoot. It's very easy to hold on to. You can shoot it with one hand after you practice a lot with it. But anyway, so the ammunition that that this Colt 1911 was built around is the full metal jacket, 230 grain. That's what's nice about this 1911, is you don't have to buy fancy, you know, hollow points or anything like that. That costs a lot of money, and even for home protection or concealed carry, the full metal jacket, like I said, the gun was built around this ammo, so this shoots the best in it. So the last thing you want to do is polish your feed ramp. Okay, Colt spent millions of dollars, you know, investing in machinery. They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for skilled labor to build these things. So when you get this gun out of the box, it's ready to fire. It doesn't need any modifications at all. So no matter what you read there, again, don't polish your feed ramp, because you could destroy your weapon and it would be useless. So just leave it the way it is and shoot the right ammunition out of it, the one that it was built around, and that's a full metal jacket, 230 grain. And so like I said, this will not go outside the house typically. It remains in the first wall that it goes into, so it's safe for home protection. All right, and if you want to use it for concealed carry, it's fine too, because it's very accurate too, very reliable gun. Okay, and now this gun, as you'll see in the next segment how accurate it is, and it doesn't know how old it is. You know, like I said, it was manufactured in 1918, and it still thinks it's 1918. And the time this video is being made, this is 106 years old, but it doesn't know that. Okay, so that's what's nice about this gun. Okay, so what I did is I went out and bought another Colt 1911 45, and I wanted one that I could easily conceal and carry. And the main reason I bought it, it's not because the original is not good enough. It's this, that I wanted to protect that gun, or this gun. I wanted to protect this gun and not carry it with me, you know, because if something would happen to it, you know, it's worth a lot more money than this handgun here. And this is a combat unit, 1911 45, and it's a CCO. And all the O stands for is officer. It's just more concealable than the combat unit with the 5-inch barrel. So this has a 4 1/4 inch barrel. Okay. But it has all the same features on it as the original. It has one thing nice about this gun is it's good for left-handers too, is that your manual safety is on both sides. See, it's on this side and it's on the left side, okay? And then they improved the grip a little bit here, so it's extended out here on this. When you go ahead and grip it, it goes in a lot easier, okay? And then they extended the beaver tail too, all right? So that was another thing they did. All right, now inside here are dual springs. There's one spring inside of another spring, and it's called the dual spring recoil system, okay? And what that does by having 2 springs as opposed to 1, it allows you to recover from that first shot a little bit quicker, all right, and get off that second shot. But as you'll see in this upcoming segment, I'm more accurate with the original 45 than I am with this. Now, this one has a 5-inch barrel, and this one has a 4 1/4 inch barrel. And I don't really think that makes that big of a difference, really. And also I'm used to shooting this original 45. You know, I started shooting at the age of 10, and it seems a little more comfortable for me. But this one also has the G10 grip on it. And even with wet hands, you're going to get a good grip on this gun. Okay, it's not going to slip out. As you can see, this grip is a little smooth here. It does have a little bit of an edging on it, but not much, not as much as this not as much as this G10. But anyway, that dual spring recoil system, you know, is supposed to help. But I don't seem to have a problem doing a follow-up shot with the original 45, and I don't seem to have a problem with this one either. And all the way you hold the gun, and I'm going to go over that with you in another segment too. So anyway, yeah, I'm not comparing these two guns by any means. The original Colt 1911 45 is one of its own. I mean, it's an automatic handgun. It's perfect. This one's perfect too, but you know, like I said, I'm not comparing them. I just wanted to protect the original one. I didn't want anything to happen to it, so I feel a little more comfortable. You know, if I would lose this one, I mean, at the time this video is being made, this is a $1,700 gun, okay? And you might ask yourself, well, how many does the clip hold? Well, each one of them, this officer's model here, it holds 7 in the clip, and then this is an original clip. It came with this original 1911, and this holds 7 too. But okay, so we're going to go over a lot of stuff in the segments on firing the gun. We're going to be doing different scenarios and doing different drills, and that's what you want to do. Is you want to join a club to where you can get into these defensive shooting classes, because this video is not an instructional video. This is more of a demonstration video, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to get out there and move with the gun and fire the gun as you're moving, okay? So that's what you want to do, and that's what I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you going to be able to invest the time and also invest the money? Handgun ammunition, no matter what ammo you get, it's expensive nowadays at the time this video is being made, so it's not cheap by any means, and as much as you're going to have to practice, you're going to have to invest a lot of money in the ammunition. And I'm not just saying that you practice twice a year. You got to practice at least 3-4 times a month, the bare minimum, to be accurate with these handguns if you want to use this for self-defense in a home situation or concealed carry. So that's what you got to think to yourself and be honest with yourself. Can you invest the time? Okay, can you invest in the right classes that you're going to need and experience some things? And that way it's more of a social thing too, because you'll be with other peers in the same situation you are, so you can learn from each other. All right, and there's usually an instructor with you that stands there with you and make sure that you're safe, okay? So it's going to be a whole lot different than standing behind a traditional firing line. And that's what we need to get away from. And I'm guilty of that too. You know, this range right here where I belong, we have a 25-yard range where we are actually allowed to go out and move with the gun and set up stationary targets. But we get to experience what it's like to move with the gun, and we have classes here at this club too. But if someone was to show up while you're out there, you have to surrender the range and go back behind the firing line, the traditional firing line, and fire behind the line. So, you know, I try to get here real early in the morning. As soon as the club opens, I try to get here, but and during the week too, I try to do that. And there's still some people that show up early, so it was, for today, I was lucky that I got here early, and I did the shooting segment before I actually did this segment here. But so anyway, that's all I want you to do, is just to be honest with yourself. You're going to have to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and join some classes. So you want to make sure that you put the gun all the way into the web of your hand, all the way in, and have the beaver tail on top, okay? The barrel should be in line with the forearm. See how that's in line with the forearm? So if you pull it out of a holster it's going to be canted over to the right a little bit. It's not going to be in line, so all your shots are going to go over to the right, okay? So make sure the gun is right in there to where the barrel is in line with the forearm, okay? All right, the next thing is you want to make sure you have a good grip. Take this finger right here, the middle finger, and it should be all the way up here at the bottom of the trigger guard. See that? Okay, make sure it's in there really tight and snug. All right, see where we have an open space here with the gun? And if you watch my other home protection video, I talk about the more contact you have with the gun, the more accurate you're going to be. So let's cover that up with the left hand, okay? So we bring the thumb, that left thumb will be under the right hand thumb, okay? Like this. We're going to cover up that part of the grip right here. Okay, now by having your fingers placed right on top of your other fingers, that's going to help you with the recoil, holding down the gun to follow up with your second shot. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to this modern Colt 1911 45, and again, I'll tell you a little bit of the specs about this newer gun, and also I'm not comparing the two for sure, because the original Colt 1911 45 is a gun of its own. So, but I want to go over this gun and just do a demonstration with it, so I'm not comparing the two. It does have the dual spring recoil system in it. Basically all that is they just put a spring inside of another spring, and supposedly that's to help you recover from the first shot so you can get off the second shot a little bit faster. I don't really notice that much. You know, it could. And also you got the G10 grips here, so it's even with wet hands you got a good grip on it. Firearms can offer us a false sense of security if we don't practice enough, and also if we don't practice the right way. So getting out behind the firing line and getting out and moving with the gun will help you. And there's all kinds of different scenarios that you can do, and but I would take a class, and they will have a big course set up for you, and you'll get to do a lot of shooting and a lot of practice. So that would be the best course of action. And also, you know, we don't want to become complacent with our firearm, and we don't want to stick it in a shoebox and put it up in a closet somewhere and then put the bullets in a drawer and just forget about it for a year or whatever. So we want to continue to practice throughout the year. And also you want to study the building materials that your home is made out of, and also, you know, study the ballistics of the caliber that you choose. And now this is one reason why I like a Colt 1911 45 for home protection, because the 45 ammo typically doesn't go outside the house, and it doesn't go through multiple walls. So if you choose a smaller caliber, those have a smaller diameter bullet, and they can go faster, and they can travel through multiple walls where you don't want them to. They could go through bedroom walls, they could go through your outside wall into your neighbor's property. Now, people buy typically what is popular, okay, when first-time gun buyers. So they sometimes don't think it through and think, you know, what would be the best for this situation that I want the gun for. So that's another thing that you should consider. But this gun was designed by John Browning, so you know it's one of the best. And you know, all over the world, throughout all the wars, a lot of men and women trusted their lives to this firearm, including my father. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel and click that like button. Leave me a comment if you'd like to, but share it with your friends too. Thanks for watching.